What's going on, everyone? Welcome to G-Ball Vision. Today, we have an exciting new knife to check out coming into us from Kansept. While we're getting started, let us know down in the comments what your EDC is today. So this beautiful specimen we have here on the table today is going to be the new Kansept Deadite, and this is in collaboration with Tough Knives. And I've maintained late in 2024, basically all through 2024, but late in 2024, they put out a knife called the Toth or the Toth, and that was one of the most impressive knives I've ever handled from Kansept, maybe the most impressive knife. And I have to say that this is right in line with that knife, if not even better, in regards to the tolerances, the fit, and the finish. This does not, and I don't mean this in a bad way or anything like that, but it's just a testament to how far they have come over the last 2 years. But this doesn't feel like a Kansept. And that's a good thing because it is. It feels like something even more substantial as far as the quality is concerned. Whoever you want to insert in there, whether it's Riot or whomever, Reich, right? There's some companies out there that just put that little bit extra into stuff. And it seems like Kansept is really heading in that direction quickly. The fit and the finish is just excellent. There are several different variations of the knife that you can choose from. This is the Lava Flow fat carbon fiber. We have these bronze titanium bolsters here. We are looking at a milled titanium clip, and that is going to be right-hand carry only. I'm guessing designer's choice not to put a left-hand option on there for the aesthetics. And we are looking at a stonewashed trailing point S35 VN blade. And then we have these oversized thumb studs and a rear flipper for deployment. And as I said, the tolerances in this knife are very, very good. The blade is centered up perfectly in there. The detent is just rock solid. The placement and everything has to be just absolutely perfect because the detent, this is what I would consider perfect. Probably a little strong for some people, but this is what I would consider perfect. If you're not on your game, you're going to miss the deployment, right? Because the detent is nice and strong. The closing action, beautifully done. Just a nice controlled close, and it'll go all the way home with no effort whatsoever. Already, right out of the box, ridiculously good. Now, what kind of size are we looking at for the Deadite here? So let's see what we have here for some specs on this. We're looking at 3 3/8 of cutting edge. We're looking at 8 1/16 of total knife length, and we'll go 3.5 inches of total blade. So let's put this up against a couple of comparison knives. First up, we have the Benchmade Bug Out up top and the Kaiser Drop Bear on the bottom. And those, I would say, are about average size, and this is going to be a little bit bigger on both ends. So let's step it up and go with a couple of larger knives. We have the Vosteed Raccoon and the full-size Kaiser Militol on the bottom there. And I would say it is directly in line with that Militol size. We'll take a look at this and see what it looks like in and out of the pocket. Check that retention. Feels pretty good going in over that initial ramp. And we do have a hidden screw here, so it's going to look very clean in the pocket. You have just the milled clip. You'll have a little bit poking out of the pocket there, but that'll be a nice spot to grab a hold of this thing and pull it out of the pocket. Smooth, and then good retention. I wouldn't say it's strong, but I wouldn't say it's weak either. I'd say it's pretty good. And you're not going to have any trouble getting this in or out of the pocket. Looks like there's plenty of room underneath there. They kept it nice and tall, kept the clip nice and skinny, and that finish is going to match our bolsters here, which looks really good. And speaking on the materials, that is name brand carbon fiber, if you will. It is some really, really good looking stuff. I'll try to throw up a couple of close-ups, but let's go ahead and get a weight on this. It has a little bit of heft to it, but it's not overly heavy, no doubt about it. There's no internal milling in there, but this knife isn't overly thick either, which we'll check that here in a moment. I'm going to say it's right around 4 ounces. Let's say 4.2, somewhere in that ballpark, I think. It could be a little bit more, but I usually go over. So yeah, 4.4. So we'll get grams here for the other folks out there. 126 grams, and that is going to be 4.4 ounces. So going to feel like you have something in your pocket and something substantial, but it's not going to be overly heavy. I would say that's a good weight to have a substantial cutting tool, something that has a little bit more to it. Let's get a measurement on this handle thickness here. We'll get our calipers out, get them zeroed, and check this handle. It's not overly thick. Yeah, that's come at its thickest part. We're looking at 0.51, so not too shabby at all. Let's look at this blade stock here. We'll get up there as close as we can. And we're looking at 116 thousandths for that blade stock. So pretty average, I would say. And we'll pick a random spot here down on the main cutting edge. And we are looking at about 20 thousandths. And that is not going to tell us everything we need to know. Let's go ahead and see how this thing cuts right out of the box. We have our standard cutting object, which is going to be telephone book paper. Let's see what kind of edge we're working with here. Nice and sharp. It's what we want. And I have to say that even though this is more, it's got an upswept blade. I don't know. I call it a trailing point. I think they called it a clip point on the website from what I remember seeing at least. But either way, whatever you want to call it, I don't really care. It feels as though it's not going to be hard to, that tip isn't overly high is what I'm getting at. It is above the pivot, but I feel like we should still be able to, depending on the size of your hand, you're going to be able to use that belly, no question about it. But I think that tip's going to be relatively easy as well to use, even though it is a little bit higher. The knife is laid out for it, and you can still use that nice big belly there. And then you have a nice straight run here for a little bit longer cuts. This thing is excellent, guys. Excellent. Nice big chamfer on the lock bar there. It doesn't look like there's a ton of access here from the show side, but both sides internally have been chamfered out, and I've noticed companies doing that a lot more, and that still allows you to come in straight from the face there and no problem to come in from the side. I have no problem with that at all. There's plenty of access in there. It's when they don't really chamfer this area off and they don't chamfer this off, it really hinders the space in there. But because both of these are chamfered out heavily and very deep, that is going to be no issue to unlock this knife. So that's just something to keep in mind. You are going to be pretty much in this grip here. You can lighten up a little bit to get a little bit of extension, but right there behind that flipper is where you're going to pretty much live. Of course, you can always cheat up if it's like a lighter cut, like something lighter duty cut. You're in denser material, but you don't need to have a huge squeeze on the handle. You can always cheat up for stuff like that. But if you like this type of design, This is one of Kansept's best models as far as fit and finish goes that I have ever handled. There's no question about it. I've handled almost everything they've put out over the last year and a half. And even before that, I bought a ton of Kansepts. So, say the last 2.5 years, I've handled a ton of Kansepts. And I have to say, the Toth and this knife here, the Deadite, two of the best knives they have ever produced. And one of those, the Toth, is more of a sheep split, and this is a trailing point. So, a couple of different options that are just really, really high quality. I would say the only knock I have on this knife here initially is going to be T6 on these inlays, which isn't really the end of the world. You shouldn't, you're not going to need to take those off, I don't believe. And if you do, it, should be once really. And you're not going to be doing it a ton because you're not switching the clip. So I still don't like that. I'd like to see T8s here. And then, a little asterisk or half asterisk for not having left hand option. But as I said, that's more on the design side than it is the Kansept build quality side. Try to look at things from both spectrums. The design side, how is it, and how's the build quality? Separating, Kansept and the build quality, this thing is exceptional. As far as the design is concerned, I think it's really comfortable. I think it would have benefited even more if they would have brought the backspacer all the way up to the top, as far as they pretty much could, and still fit the flipper through, or at least line it up with the top of your onlays here. I think that would have made this even more comfortable, and the weight would have been negligible. So, in ergonomics, I think this is really comfortable. The clip flows well and is chamfered off nicely in the right spots. Nothing, no hot spots, but I just think it would be even more comfortable with that backspacer there. But as far as, if this was my design, that's what I would want there. And that would be about the only thing I would change initially here is a longer backspacer. I probably would have went, well, the black goes good because if you don't want the knife to be too loud, the black, it goes good. So I would have probably ran a nice dark black full length backspacer up here and called this thing good to go. The sad thing is no left hand option, but in this case, it makes it tough to put it there, understandably, from the designer's side. But, those would be my two main knocks. So if you're right handed and you like this design, one of their best builds, no question about it. Last thing we need to do is check that lock. The sun is coming out to play, I see a little bit here. Sorry about that. We are looking at a pretty healthy lock up there. I would say about 25%. And there's definitely no detent lash. That thing is beautiful. And this thing is locked up nice and solid. We'll do a couple light taps out towards the tip to start. And those were pretty good ones, actually. Check it here. Medium taps in the middle. Very good. And some tougher ones there up towards the handle. We're not trying to see if we can, hit nails in with this. We're just making sure it's not going to slip. For the people who say, you're not doing it hard enough. I'm not trying to break the knife, but I'm also, I just want to see if it's going to stay locked up. And that's the whole idea. Not to see if we can pound a nail in with the spine. But Kansept has never given us an issue when it comes to their lockups. Their quality control, I've said this before, they send a well-finished knife that maintains a good lockup. Have we had some, iffy edges from them in the past? I'd say yes, but very rarely. Kansept incrementally over the last 2 years has gotten so good to the point where they're starting to be, like I said earlier, almost unrecognizable from a couple of years ago. Just tolerance wise, fit and finish wise, build quality, they have really stepped it up. The materials they're using and how they're finishing them, bravo to Kansept, and just very well done. I hope they keep this type of build quality, fit and finish, and quality control up, because it is going to be an awesome sight to see with all these knife companies really putting their foot to the gas pedal. You'll have to let me know, what do you think of the Deadite here? Love hearing from you guys on these new knives and these companies. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. That helps push the video out there to more people. If you're new to my channel here and you enjoy this type of content, you're in the right place. Make sure you subscribe, because I release daily videos just like this. I'll throw a couple of new videos up on your screen that YouTube is recommending. You go check out right now. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I will catch you on the next one.